Hello everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 285. Alright, today we're going to be talking about the Alacorn Mark 6 Heavy Tank. Well, the old Alacorn comes in at a whopping 95 tons. It has an XL Fusion engine, and it dates back to the Star League era. It's a 3.5 mover, comes with 10 free heat sinks, but well, it doesn't use any of them for some reason. And then it has 208 points of armor, which is 13 tons. That's pretty respectable. It could have more, but you know, when you're looking at, was that 59 or 50 points of armor on the front slope, 40 on the sides, 20 on the rear, and 50 in the turret. If you put this thing in a hull down position, a defensive position where they have to come to you, you know, it will be a long time before you can take that thing out. And with those big giant rail guns on board, it's going to be punching holes here and there. All right, speaking of weapon systems, it carries 3, yes, you heard it, 3 Gauss rifles in the turret with 5 tons of ammo for 40 shots, or roughly, 13 turns? That's pretty good. Then one little plinker to go with it. So, 13 tons. Being a 3.5, it's not that fast by any means. It's not going to break any record books. It falls under the same category as more of a defensive vehicle or a slow destroy fortifications type thing where, you know, yeah, it's got a range of 22. And if you find that sweet spot, let's say they got only LRM batteries protecting themselves, you could roll this thing up. It's like, all right, we're just right outside their optimum firing range of 21. You're seeing at 22, and they're just plug away till the bays are empty, and then go back and refill. And maybe by that time, you just filled the defensive position full of holes. And if you got a whole lance of these things, yeah, that's 12 guns, rail guns, just piling away, just banging away, destroying stuff. Now, like I said, though, in a regular game where you're trying to move across a battlefield with these things to engage your targets, you got to have a screen of mechs or faster moving vehicles out front of you to keep them occupied. Because, well, when you're slow, let me tell you, it doesn't take very much effort to destroy a slow moving vehicle in the open. You're going to probably mobility kill it, and then if you got fast moving mechs, well, they'll tear it a new one pretty quickly. But if they connect, yeah, that fast moving mech is probably going to be going, oh my gosh, I just lost body parts. That's been my experience. But you got to hit them. So that's the problem. Now, in a city fight, it can work good shooting down roadways, or if you got an open park or something of that nature, yeah, that would work. But the main weakness, as you well know, of a Gauss rifle is getting right into its face, and it's got those minimum range modifiers. So if you got a fast moving vehicle, or most likely some type of recon mech, that thing will, if you can get the most speed out of it, move as fast as you can, get right next to it, and then the modifiers are movement modifiers and minimum range modifiers. The odds are it's not going to be able to hit, and then it's going to be looking for targets farther down range, ignoring you, because it's got nothing at all when it comes to short range support. So that is its biggest weakness. So if you get in close to this thing, you'll rip them apart, and then you can probably kick it to death. And if you can get behind it, as you probably don't know, but the turrets can only make one facing at a, you know, it's just the same as torso twist. You can make one facing. It's got a 360 turret, but you can make it move slowly. So if you can get behind them, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So there's its weakness. But wait, there's more. Yeah, there are a few other versions of this wonderful vehicle. What year did I think it was 30? no, 2050 or 2587 is when it first came out. So, and it was in the Star League Defense Force. And a bunch of them went with Kerensky. Yeah, he took a bunch with him. So, we have the Mark I, which came out in 2561, which is before the Gauss rifles were installed. It had a trio of AC-10s, 5 tons of ammunition like this one does, the Gauss rifle version, equipped with a standard fusion engine, and it had 10 tons and 10.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor. So, yeah. So, it had less armor on board, but ferrofibrous added up a little bit more. So, there you go. But a standard fusion engine. Not that the XL and a standard fusion engine make any difference when you're getting into the nice juicy parts of the vehicle and you punch through the armor, because it's not quite the same as a mech. So if you take out the structure one section, it's dead. That's just the nature of the vehicle. But at least the AC-10s can shoot close. There. Now, there's the Mark II version. This one was another design as the Mark I. This one had the same engine chassis as the Mark I, but it had 3 AC-20s. Carried 3 tons of ammunition, and it had 6 tons of ferrofibrous armor. So, yeah, it's like glass cannon. When you got 6.5 tons of armor, that isn't much. You know, it's like you're looking around 100, a little over 100 points of armor. Yeah, that's not very good. It won't take very long to kill something like that. Now, if you got in close, those AC-20s will tear you apart probably. But stay outside of 9, you just kind of they just look at you going, I wish I could do something about it, and they can't, because, well, not much they could do. And they realized that it was a glass cannon, and they ceased production. It's like, no more. Not a great idea. Now, then we come in with the Mark III. This came out in 2587. Prior to the Gauss rifle versions, it carried around. This one had the 3 AC-10s. So, yep. Basically, it's the Mark I, just new and improved for the Star League Defense Force. And then we had the Mark IV. This one was another prototype of it. This one had the trio of AC-20s, basically once again coming in with AC-20s, short-lived. And then we come out with the Mark VII. This one kind of interesting. Is like you have has 2 heavy Gauss rifles, 6 ton of ammunition to go with it. But it come in at a whopping 21, almost 2,200 battle value compared to the 18.5 of the standard one with the heavy with the Gauss rifles versus the heavy Gauss rifles. Yeah, if you got hit with a heavy Gauss rifle, it might hurt a lot. But overall, the Alacorn needs something to, well, make it a little bit better. And what would you do if you're going to change this thing? Well, let me see here. This is what I was running. There's one version where it would drop them down. It's like you take the AC-10 version, which is the Mark III, and give it 2 LBX 10s with 4 tons of ammunition to go with it. So 2 tons per slug thrower. And then you replace one of those LBXs with an ERPPC. And then you're still able to, it's like, hey, you got lots of room on board this thing. Ferrofibrous armor, which wraps it up to 13 tons of ferrofibrous, so it has 233 points of armor. and then give it SRM 6s in the turret. One in the turret, one on the front slope, and then you can add 3 machine guns. Hey, that's another drawback of this thing. You throw infantry at it, it just kind of stares at the infantry as it's slowly getting taken apart by infantry. So you need something to shoot the infantry. So 3 machine guns with a half-ton ammo on board will do the job too. As you notice, there's a trend here that a lot of vehicles have weaknesses. They design vehicles with weaknesses. So they like combined arms. You might have a couple half lance of Alacorn with something else to support it up close to keep things off its back, instead of running an entire lance of them. So that's kind of like how you got to look at a lot of vehicles. You'll find out what its weakness is, and you put something next to it that overcomes that weakness and protects it. You know, sometimes you need bodyguards. But if you want something to have bodyguards, then you got to figure out what you can do. Now, you could go with the, let's see, I never did, where's it at? You know, it's like the heavy Gauss rifle, 2 Gauss rifles. Yeah, that's that one. Now, you could do is change it out to just have 2 Gauss rifles. 2 Gauss rifles, 4 tons of ammunition to go with it. And then you could go with a, let's say a single, if you could go an ERPPC, and then you could go with a, like say an SRM4. Let's go with an SRM4 with a ton of ammunition in the turret, and then you could go with 2 machine guns and let's say 2 machine guns, yes, in the turret. Yeah, so you could go with 2 Gauss rifles in the ERPPC, an SRM4, and 2 machine guns. That would so you still got some long-range firepower. You're losing 5 out at range, which is acceptable to me, by giving yourself something a little in close defensive, and you can take out some infantry in the process. Or you could have gone with an SRM6, I think, yeah, and then but then you wouldn't have anything in close to take care of infantry, other than, even though you could add not even a vehicle flamer, so you would have to give up something to go that route. But there is that. So that is some thought processes that went through my head when I was looking at this vehicle, trying to decide the best way to alleviate some of its weaknesses. And it comes down to getting rid of the one of the Gauss rifles for something that does a little bit less damage, and taking advantage of your heat sinks. You got them, why waste them? And for a small amount of firepower loss at range, gaining something up close. So I don't know what your thoughts would be on this one. But overall, the Alacorn has some good strengths and a lot of weaknesses, and you need a bodyguard for it. That's the main gist of the vehicle. You need somebody to come along with it and protect it. Keep them off their tail, literally. That's how you gotta look at the Alacorn. So, I hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.